Good morning. Today I'm talking to you about fire behavior and fuels. So we've already talked about some of this stuff before, and we're just going to keep going with this idea. What we're talking about today is a couple different types of fires and their fuel source. So you have your handout, you're drawing out 5 different items in your handout, and I'm just going to go and give you examples of each one of these. So if you look at the first one, that's surface fuels. Surface fuels are all the things at the bottom of the forest. So in this picture, it's things like shrubs and small plants and small trees that are just starting to grow that are maybe only a couple of feet high. The dead log in the middle of this picture counts as surface fuel. Dead leaves and needles that fall down onto the ground, all of these things are surface fuels. They're at the surface within the first couple of feet anyways of the ground going upwards. The surface fuels can determine how big the fire will be, and how quickly it can spread. If there's a lot of surface fuels, you're going to have a bigger fire. If there's not a lot of surface fuels, you're going to have a smaller fire. Now let's look at what a surface fire looks like. In this case, our surface fire is only burning at the surface. So it started burning that fuel that's on the ground, in this case some dry grasses, you see some small trees and a few shrubs. It's all burning at that level. You might have a little bit of burning of the bark of the really tall trees, but it stays down at that level. A surface fire only burns in the first couple of feet of the forest fire. These ones tend to be not as destructive. They can actually be beneficial and help prevent fuels growing and growing and growing that would eventually start a huge fire. Okay, so sometimes we even set these surface fires intentionally, and we do that to get rid of some of the fuel that's in a forest. Okay. The third one, we're looking at ladder fuels. And ladder fuels are everything that would allow a surface fire to move up the trees. So in this picture here, you have some really tall trees, but you also have some medium height trees and some small trees. The ladder fuels are the small to medium trees. It also includes any branches that are low in the trees that would help the fire move up that tree. In this case, you can see at any level there's either branches, medium trees, small trees. There's fuel going all the way from the surface up the tree. Those are ladder fuels. And fourth, we have crown fuels. Crown is the very top of the trees. So you're talking about crown is kind of like the canopy. This is the very top. Now, crown fuels are all those branches that you see kind of bunched up, especially like you see them in redwood trees a lot, but this picture also has a good example. All those branches at the top, all those needles at the top, whether the branches are living or dead, they serve as fuel. Most fires are not going to reach the crown. They're not going to reach the top. They're not going to reach the canopy. Most fires burn lower to the ground. And so tall, mature trees can get through many fires, many of the smaller and medium fires. But if you have a lot of fuel in the crown and you do get fire up into the crown, you're going to have a huge fire. And that's the last one. When we see crown fires, if you have a crown fire, you've already had your surface fire. The ladder fuels have caused the fire to move up the tree. And for a crown fire, the whole tree now is on fire. Everything at the top is on fire. And if you look back at our previous picture, the density of the crown material all at the top allows that fire to just spread and spread and spread. And these are your biggest fires. Whenever you get the canopy or the crown of the trees starting to burn, that's going to be your most intense fires. And we see that unfortunately now a lot in California. The fire gets big enough and there's enough fuel for that fire to move up the tree all the way to the crown. All right, hope this helps you draw out some of those sketches. Let me know if you have any questions. Thank you very much.